African Union, IGAD, and others, peace partners. To South Sudan urged Kiir to withdraw UPDF forces from South Sudan territory and unconditional release of First Vice President Dr. Riek Machar Tegne. Places listed with short context and source. Juba, capital. Uganda publicly said special forces were deployed to Juba to secure the government and protect President Salva Kiir amid rising tensions. Uganda later told Parliament and the press about the deployments. Central Equatoria, Kajo-Keji, border area with Uganda, repeated reports of UPDF patrols, camps, and clashes in and around Kajo-Keji. Local officials and humanitarian sources say villages were occupied or displaced. Kajo-Keji has become the main flashpoint reported in July-August 2025. Other Equatoria border zones, rural Payams near Moyo, Uganda. Multiple local reports and county commissioners accuse UPDF of operating in disputed border zones and of creating security incidents affecting farmers and communities. Areas around key trade corridors and reported forward bases, news and local outlets have reported UPDF forward deployments and checkpoints near trade and transit routes used for movement between Uganda and South Sudan. Specifics vary by report. These reports are less centralized than Juba, Kajo-Keji, but repeatedly mentioned in local coverage. Note: South Sudanese government statements have sometimes disputed or downplayed the scale, locations of Ugandan forces. The picture differs across Kampala, Juba, and local sources. Use multiple source confirmation for any single location. Timeline: Key incidents, ordered with sources. March 11, 2025, Uganda announces it has deployed special forces into South Sudan to protect the Kiir government amid rapidly escalating tensions. International outlets covered the announcement. March 20, 2025, Uganda's parliament holds a motion and records approval support for the UPDF deployment to South Sudan, parliament record. March-May 2025, multiple reports of renewed fighting around Upper Nile and other areas, White Army, SSPDF clashes, create the backdrop that Kampala cited as justification for its deployment. UN and humanitarian agencies warn of escalating civilian risks. Contextual reporting from Guardian, ACAPS. Late July 2025, around July 28-30, border fighting escalates at the Uganda-South Sudan frontier. Several sources report an exchange in which at least 3-5 South Sudanese soldiers were killed in clashes with Ugandan forces. Uganda said it was retaliating after one of its soldiers was killed. Reports mention an immediate ceasefire agreement to investigate, but also rising displacement.
End of July. Early August 2025, Kajo-Keji incidents. Fighting in Nyangamuda and surrounding villages, Kajo-Keji County, reportedly left multiple SSPDF casualties, led to large-scale displacement. Radio Tamazuj reports 16,000 registered displaced, and local authorities accused UPDF of attacking SSPDF outposts in villages. Early August 2025, local and social media reports, including Eyewitness, NGO, and local radio, described ambushes and skirmishes in Kajo-Keji in which UPDF and SSPDF elements clashed. Casualty figures vary between sources. Some report 4, 5, or 6 dead, and investigations/official tallies were ongoing. August 2025, very recent. African Union delegation in Juba is reported to be discussing the withdrawal/timetable for UPDF forces. The AU, IGAD, and UNMISS said they are seeking a phased pullout to avoid security vacuums. These talks followed the waves of incidents and international concern. Quick assessment/patterns to watch. Concentration. Most reliable reporting points to 2 concentration areas: Juba, political/force protection presence, and Kajo-Keji/border areas in Central Equatoria, security incidents, and civilian displacement. Mixed official narratives. Kampala has been open about deployments. Juba's public messaging has sometimes denied or downplayed specifics. So cross-check local government statements, UPDF press releases, and independent humanitarian reporting. Humanitarian impact. Reports of thousands displaced, KJKG, and disrupted farming/markets are recurring. Include displacement data if you report this. AP/International Reporting on Uganda Deployment. Uganda Parliament Notice/Record of Support for Deployment, Parliament of Uganda. Radio Tamazuch, KJKG Displacement and Local Reporting. Al Jazeera/AP Coverage of Border Clashes and Casualty Figures. Recent local reporting, Radio Tamazuch, iRadio, local outlets, and analytic pieces documenting incidents and claims. AU team discussing withdrawal, recent article. If you'd like, I can next do one of these follow-ups. Pick one. 1. Produce a visual timeline, PNG/PDF, with dates and locations to embed in a report. 2. Build a spreadsheet, CSV/Excel, listing each reported incident, date, source, coordinates, where available, and casualty/displacement figures. 3. Create a simple GIS map, static PNG or interactive, marking Juba, KJKG, and reported forward basis. All source coordinates from the same news/UN maps. AU push for UPDF withdrawal. What's at stake for South Sudan? An investigative feature in 4 parts. Part 1. The deployment and the dispute. The Ugandan People's Defense Forces, UPDF, entered South Sudan under a bilateral security pact signed in early 2023, officially to assist in counterinsurgency operations in the Equatoria region and protect key trade corridors between the two countries. However, opposition leaders and civil society organizations argue that the UPDF's presence has gone far beyond its original mandate. In recent months, witnesses have reported joint SSBDF-UPDF operations in politically sensitive areas, including the outskirts of Juba and Unity State oil fields, deployments that critics say undermine the 2018 revitalized peace agreement. Part 2. Flashpoints and casualties. Clashes between UPDF and armed opposition groups have escalated since mid-2024. KJKG incident. August 2025, 6 SSBDF soldiers reportedly killed in an ambush involving UPDF units. Border skirmishes. Frequent exchanges of gunfire at the Uganda-South Sudan border, disrupting trade and displacing civilians. Civilian complaints. Farmers in eastern Equatoria accuse UPDF soldiers of harassment, land seizures, and looting, allegations Uganda's military denies. These incidents have deepened mistrust between Juba's government and opposition forces, especially the SPLMIO faction led by First Vice President Dr. Riek Machar, who remains under house arrest. Part 3. The AU's diplomatic dilemma. The African Union team now in Juba is trying to balance 3 competing pressures. 1. Juba's security concerns. President Salva Kiir's government insists UPDF support is necessary to prevent armed group advances, particularly in border states. 2. Regional stability. IGAD partners warn that prolonged foreign troop presence could trigger wider regional confrontations, especially with Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo closely monitoring the situation. 3. Peace process integrity. The AU fears that failure to manage the withdrawal could collapse the fragile ceasefire, derail the transitional process, and reignite full-scale conflict. Part 4. The road ahead. According to sources close to the talks, the AU is considering a phased withdrawal plan. Phase 1. Removal of UPDF units from civilian-populated zones in eastern and central Equatoria. Phase 2. Gradual redeployment of South Sudanese forces to former UPDF bases, backed by AU and UNMISS oversight. Phase 3. Final exit of UPDF troops, with a joint security monitoring mechanism in place. Yet, implementation depends on 2 unresolved issues. Whether the SPLMIO and other opposition groups will be meaningfully involved in security arrangements. Whether Uganda will agree to a timetable that meets AU and IGAD's expectations without compromising its own security interests. Conclusion: the UPDF withdrawal is more than a troop movement. It's a litmus test for South Sudan's sovereignty, the credibility of its peace process,